everyone, welcome to Kelly's Creative Dream Studios, and it is Tag Tuesday, and since we're doing everything Christmas in July, we're making Christmas tags. If you've been to my channel before, thanks for stopping in. If you're new, I hope you'll find something of interest to you here on my channel and take a minute to click the subscribe button. Today, we are working with this tag inspiration from Andrea Oki-Parr at Whimsy Stamps. And I like the mixed media element in this. And so I made one this morning. This was my sample. I'm still building my mixed media technique, so hang with me. Now I use paper, because I'm doing Christmas, I want to do Christmas background papers instead of book pages. And this is from My Quirky Muse on Etsy, and I will link her down below. And I will link this paper collection down below. So you're going to want to go check her out. She's got some really pretty papers. So this is the tag that I made. We're going to do one just a little bit different. I'm focusing more on this one here, but I wanted to show you something. This scallop edge was really easy to do. All I did was take a strip of the paper, accordion folded it, and used my scissors to go around and round my corner. And then when I opened it up, I had my scalloped edge. Super, super simple to do. Okay, so let's take a tag base. And I have these all pre-done up and ready for this month. And I'm not going to use the napkin glue. I am going to use... my glue's getting a little cluttered over there. I'm going to use my Tombow Mono, and I'm just going to squeeze it all over this tag base. Not on here. Whoa. I about messed that up big time. Let's go back to my silicone mat from Stampin' Up. I love these. I have trouble keeping track of them. I own 2 or 3, and I found the easiest way to keep track of them is I have one of these clips, and they come in like a package of 10 or 12 at Dollar Tree. And I clip it to the edge of my glue card over here, so I always have it handy. Now, I'm using a second one this morning because my other one is covered in black paint for a project in the works that I hope to be able to show you Friday. Keep in mind, I'm pushing to try and make sure that I do get in here on Friday, but I have... a writer's conference all this week. And my big thing here is I want to make sure I get that glue all the way to the edges. Spread it out, and I think I need a little bit more. I think it's a little thin. I think my glue's about out. What do you think? I'll leave it turned upside down, and we'll keep hoping I can squeeze every last little drop out of there. But I want to get in here. And the key thing is to make sure that I have glue around the edges. And we'll work with that one. And my silicone mat is just super easy because when I do glue, then I can come back and I can clean it off when it's dry. Just peel the glue off. Sometimes I take and throw it in a soapy water. I'm also really good about keeping my dry baby wipes over here, and I wipe the majority of it off so as I'm continuing to work, I don't lay my project down in the glue ooze. Okay, now I have these various papers here, and you want to see something cute? When you start running out of black ink in your printer, you get this lovely shade of lavender. And these were printed at 5x7 so that I could have a good mixture of I wanted the print to be fine, and that's not coming off of there. So what we're going to do, we'll come back with our sticky scissors and we'll trim the top of that tag off. No biggie. Okay, and then what did I do with my credit card? I had one here. I have several that I'm working with, but pull one of these and squeegee that onto that glue really good. Okay. And then I can peel it off of my silicone mat, lay that off to the side, come back in with my scissors, And don't throw your music trims away. If you're doing anything else, these make great additions to clusters. Adding, you know, when you just need that little bitty piece of something, music papers are perfect for that. And at some point, probably when we get through the Christmas in July, I've got some stuff to show you of how I'm storing my papers now. I think the studio over here is finished to a point I can play. Now, this one, I'm going to do a little bit different. I do need to bring in a piece of my contact paper. And you know, I could easily just as do this. In fact, let me do this. Pull this out. I could do this in my journal book. And then when I'm done, I've got all the drips starting on this page. Okay, let's start this timer that I forgot. Now, I am using the Magicals, the Jingle Bells collection from Lindy's Stamp Gang. And I'm using the Frosty Forest, Rudolph's Nose Red, and I may bring in a little bit of Golden Sleigh Bells. And what I did was, if you'll remember a couple of weeks ago when I did these with the gum Arabic and turned them into watercolors, well, this morning I just added a little extra water to them so that I'd get drip. But before that, we have one step to take care of, and that is I want to come in with some gesso, and I keep it in this little hospital container here, so I've got some handy all the time. And I'm just dipping my edges in there, and I'm probably going to brush off some of it. And then I'm just coming in and doing almost a dry brush with it on my paper here. And I'm just going in places, I'm not going all over. I just want to get some, so that I'll get some opaque with my color when I do the drips. Okay, so not a lot. I'll get my lid on there. I need to come back with my press and seal that in. But now I've got gesso there, and I've got my brush brushed off. Okay, now I'm going to hit this with the heat gun, so a little noise here for just a minute. And get that gesso dried. And this will also help dry that glue layer underneath. And you'll notice with the gesso we got a little bit of smear on there. That's perfectly fine. This is a mixed media tag after all. Okay. Now, all I'm going to do, and I'm going to stand up so I can watch and see what you see. I'm going to come in with my red, and it needs a little bit more water if I'm going to get drip, so I'm going to give it a little squish and get that going in there. And I'm just going to run some lines across here. And then I'm going to hold this off to the side so I don't have water squirting on my desk. And look at that run action on there. Isn't that pretty? A little bit more there. And then as it runs down, it's going to run onto my paper, and I'm perfectly okay with that. Clean off my brush here and give that a little bit of squish. So I don't have my, because I want to come in with some red, or with the green, and the green needs some more water in it. It's had a chance to set up since I used it earlier. And with that gum Arabic in there, it'll just set up and it'll become a watercolor palette for you. And then let's get a little bit of green in here. Okay. And give that squirt. Okay. And watch that run. And all we're doing is creating a little bit of color on here. Nothing spectacular. Now, I have not done the gold on here. So I'm going to go ahead and let's just go ahead and fan brush it on here for now. So I'm going to take my fan brush and just dip it in there. Make sure I get some that actually comes off onto the paper. Okay. I think I need a little bit more over here. And these magicals, they go a long way. And they'll go even farther when you turn them into your watercolor palette. So let's give that a run and let that gold run. I should have done a little bit up near the top. Let's get some of these pigment chunks up here and put them up here. And I think we could use a little bit more green up here. What do you think? A little bit more green? Okay, and look at the pretty sparkly color we have on our paper palette now. I'm going to move this, and I'm going to move this, because I don't want to lay my tag in that squishy water. So I'm going to move this up here where it's level and out of my way. Come back and dab this up a little bit with some color. And then we're going to come back and we're going to hit this with the heat gun again. And one of the things I do when I've got something really wet or I want to make sure I get heat from underneath, I will come back and I will put it on this clipboard that's lined with foil. You can put wrap foil around a piece of canvas, heavy chipboard, and we're going to come back and give this a dry. I saw this inspiration piece from her, and I knew that I wanted to play with the magicals. Probably could have still used a little more green in there, but that's okay. And in a minute you'll see why I chose to use the gold. I just want to make sure that's getting dry. And the foil will help reflect the heat back from underneath, so you'll get a good dry with not as much time actually drying. It'll dry a little bit faster with that foil base under there, okay? Okay, so there we have that. Can take that off now. Now, you saw the one that I did with the poinsettia flower. I did this one here, a similar simulation of that one. Now we're going to do this one, and I like what she did with that. And so I'm going to plot me a seat here, because what I've done is I used number dies from Momenta, and I cut a piece of glitter that was approximately an inch by an inch and a half, inch and 3/4. And then I die cut the numbers out, and I can use the numbers on anything else. But here's what I chose to do. Instead of using the numbers, I'm using the negative. And we're going to put it right there, just like that. So we need to come back in with our glue. And you know, I think I want to add some strips of color in there. And I have, this papers is from a retired set from Stampin' Up called Dashing Along. And I like the clear straight edges. So I'm just going to cut some skinny strips. I've got some here with words. I have these. And I think I want to cut a strip with the green, with the florals on it, so as I learn how to talk. And then I'm going to use the back side as well. And that will give me some things to play with. Paper-wise, I know this is going to come in here, and instead of bringing in the circles that she did, I just want to bring in a little bit of this paper, like this. And I'm just going to layer the strips in here, and I like the real narrow strips. Just like that. And that's still damp under there. And then we'll bring this 25 right across like that. Okay, and then I have these poinsettia flowers. These are from Memory Makers, and I've had them in my stash forever. And we're just going to layer it like that. So let's come back with our glue. And let's see. Let's put this one down first. And this also has a green on the back, but I wanted the wording. I'd like my glue to come out. Now, tomorrow is the Community Tab Day, and you're going to want to watch for the Community Tab to post, because that's going to tell you what we're going to need for Thursday's project. Okay? I'm going to come back in here with this glue and do this red on here. Because we're going to be focusing on a Christmas card again. I know. But something else from Ardith. Because she is our inspiration guest this month. I'm going to come back here and stagger that right there. And then I think I want to bring this in from the side, but because it'll balance out the poinsettias. Otherwise, this tag is, everything is to the left and heavy. I like to get every drop of glue I can out of my bottles. And sometimes that means pretty much beating the bottle up and getting it to cooperate. Now this is probably going to ooze, but that's okay. We're going to take and come up here with that. I could have brought that down a little farther. I'm going to come back in here with this and press this down. Okay, and then I want to edge this one, and I'm using Close to Cocoa because it's handy. I should have edged those, and I didn't, but I'm going to go ahead and distress this one on the sides. I get through the writers conference this week. I want to come back in and finish getting my inks done so they're all ready to go when I need them. And let's see, this is the end I want to glue. This is the end we're gluing right across there. Press that into place. Now I am using my craft glue to put the poinsettia in place. So I'm going to come back, and I didn't even use a brush this morning. I just came back and used a little bit of glue on my finger so that I could really glue that brad into place. There we go. Now wipe my finger off. And remember, this glue dries really quick, so I just have to hold it for a minute and then come back in with my hole punch and figure about where we're at there. That looks about right. And because there's so much color and everything else going on this one, I'm not going to use a colored or stark tag on this. I'm going to come back in and just use, you know, I think I like this Merry Christmas on there. I think I like this on there. Maybe I should have done a slot, but we'll see. I still have glue on my fingers because I'm sticking. Okay. I'm going to clip that off in the middle of that because I want to be sure that Merry Christmas shows through. And we're going to shove that through the hole. If you're using ribbon on a round hole, use the end of a paintbrush, and it'll poke that right through there. I just need it to turn so that the Merry Christmas is showing on the ribbon, just like that. Okay. Now, the other thing I did was I tied it off with gold thread, and I'm not going to fussy that right now. But what I did was I used one of these clips, and this held my ribbon in place so I could come back with my gold thread and tie that off. It's really tricky working with that gold thread. Let me see if I have a fiber that maybe is a little bit bigger. We have a couple of minutes here. This might work. Let's see if we can get a little bit of this braid around here. This might do the trick. We've got all this gold cord and gold braid. Let's take a piece of this. Stick that over here with my Christmas stuff. And see, since that's holding my ribbon together, I can come back in. And as long as my fingers cooperate, I can tie this off just like this. And this works much faster than that thread did. And I do want to tie that up good. Okay, and then that holds that. And I can come back in as soon as that's tied off nice and tight. I could come back in with my ribbon scissors and snip that off. And then I have a little bit extra adornment to that. And then we'll come back and I'm going to cut this off this way. So it does that. And then I have these two little pieces of gold that I will save to put into a cluster. And there's our timer. We did awesome, didn't we? Okay, so there is tag number 2. Here's the first tag that I did. Oh, the one thing I haven't done yet, and let's do that really quick. We have a couple of minutes left. I set the timer on 15 minutes, so when it goes off, I know I've got a little bit of time to finish up. But I am going to go back through, and instead of stitching this tag, I'm just going to come back, and I'm going to use my perma marker to outline some of these points. So I can come back under here, and it just adds a little bit of definition. I could use a Stabilo ink pencil and come back and do that and then smear that in. Let's come down the side here, and this just kind of highlights what you've done. While I'm finishing this up, if you are not a member of Spectrum Art Creations and you like playing with mixed media, or you're new to mixed media and you just don't know where to start, we have a great new challenge going on. And so instead of going around this one, like I did here, I just outlined the elements. She has challenges going on, and they just started, where we have the opportunity to get to play with mixed media a little more. We're doing a color challenge that does a journal page, and we're doing mixed media on some sort of a surface about the size of a 4x6 card. Some of us are going to use the 4x6 canvas frames from Dollar Tree, because you get like 3 to a pack for $1.25, so you know they're going to be cheap and easy, and we know they'll take the mixed media. So come check us out. I think you will find that it's a pretty cool group. I'm going to try coming in here with this black and hope I don't mess this up. But I'm going to trace the inside of that number, and that will let that number stand out a little bit. So, and as I said, Maddie just posted the first journal color challenge this morning, and the new ones will post every Monday. Yeah, I do like that. It does let that pop. So, tomorrow, community tab to see what you're going to want to bring along to play with this on Thursday. Thursday is Artist Mixed Media. We are going to do another Christmas card, but we're going to be stenciling. So think about, if you're going to do Christmas, take a look and see what you've got for Christmas stencils and your inks. And then Friday is focusing on Tina at Shabby Dabby Doodah and working on our December daily album. Thanks for joining me in the studio today. I look forward to seeing you the rest of the week. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and creative Christmas blessings.